Sunscreens are pretty much universally recommended, and there are a million options out there. So hit subscribe right now, and we're going to talk pros and cons of sunscreen. Welcome back, Erin's Beauty Bloom. This is part 2. If you want to learn about UV rays, go back to the previous video. Again, in this video, we're going to talk about sunscreen. So there are two main types of sunscreen. There are chemical sunscreens, which work by absorbing UV radiation like a sponge. And there are physical sunscreens that work by reflecting or scattering UV radiation like a shield. When we're talking about these products, wearability is really important because, let's face it, it doesn't matter how safe a product is for you. If it's not convenient for you to use, you're probably not going to use it. So when it comes to wearability, chemical sunscreens are fast absorbing. They don't leave any sort of greasy texture. They come in a spray form a lot of times, and they're super convenient. Compare that to physical sunscreens. They can leave a white greasy residue behind, and they typically don't come in a spray form. Next really important thing is the safety of the ingredients. And you heard me just say that physical sunscreens typically don't come in a spray form. There's a big caveat on this, is that they do occasionally, and when they do, many times they use nanotechnology to make the titanium dioxide particles small enough to be aerosolized so it can be a spray. And there are some concerns around the safety of nano-sized particles of titanium dioxide when they're inhaled. Once humans use technology to alter those molecules, the safety is not the same. So when we're talking about chemical sunscreens, the research is still emerging, and I predict that we're going to learn a lot more because these are synthetic compounds and there are many, many ingredients. So as the research becomes more thorough, we'll learn more. But what we know now is that these ingredients are absorbed through the skin and have been found in the urine and tissues of humans and other animals. It is slightly concerning that deer and fish have accumulations of chemical sunscreens in their tissue or urine because they're not applying it to their skin. It has been in the news a lot, say in the last year or two, that chemical sunscreens are toxic to juvenile coral. So juvenile coral and other marine life experience bleaching and deformities when they're exposed to chemical sunscreens. And a lot of chemical sunscreen ingredients have either been linked to or there's ongoing debates regarding their endocrine disrupting effects. And while not each one of these concerns applies to every chemical sunscreen, most products have multiple ingredients because they only provide either UVA or UVB protection. So you'll have maybe 3, 4, or even 5 active ingredients in your typical chemical sunscreen product. And so if you're curious about if your sunscreen provides UVA and UV protection, there's going to be a link in the comments, and it's a UV filters chart. So make sure that you check that out, and then you'll know exactly what kind of protection you're getting. Whatever product you choose, make sure that you reapply based on the manufacturer's recommendations. And if you plan to be in the sun for an extended period of time, it's good if your sunscreen ingredients are photostable. This means that they don't degrade when they're exposed to sunlight. And some research that came out in 2018 showed that after 1 hour in the sun, avobenzone actually generated more reactive oxygen species than the control did. So over the long term, that ingredient's not photostable. And it's good when you have photostable ingredients. But at some level, it comes down to convenience and how wearable is the product. And that's going to drive a lot of consumer decisions. I think it's important to keep following the research that's coming out on this because at this time, all the ingredients that I discussed are approved for use in sunscreen. And it's also important that you do some of your own research. Hop on Google Scholar and see what you can find out about the safety. And let's start a conversation in the comments. How concerned are you about these safety issues, and what kind of sunscreen do you use and why? Tell me what your favorite is. But I can't finish this up until we discuss the alternatives. One alternative is not going outside. This could result, when taken to a very extreme case, in vitamin D deficiency, which is associated with its own suite of very serious health problems, so that's not recommended. And the other option is wearing clothes and just rocking with the amount of melanin you were born with. It's safe, you're not exposing yourself to chemicals at all, and you can use your body's natural defenses and get a little bit of sun exposure, maybe slightly tan, then cover up, wear a hat, wear long sleeves, stay in the shade, protect yourself that way. And the last alternative is to use antioxidants. So tune back in for part 3. We're going to talk about antioxidants and their role in providing sun protection.